Well, we woke up on Victory Monday, and the Pittsburgh Steelers playoff hopes are still alive thanks to another comeback from Kenny Pickett. Before I ask you how you are, I have to say, I think we have to be the show that starts the Kenny comeback nickname because Clutch Kenny's a good one. Kenny Two Gloves is good. But I don't know. Like, there's something about Kenny comeback that just rings. That seems like it rings well.
My only question is it Kenny comeback, and do you double up on the K's in the comeback? Do you do is it a Kenny comeback like that, or do you stick with the C?
I feel like you got to stick with the C. I feel like when you go the double K, you like some people are going to look at that like you're trying too hard. Like that's not going to appeal to like the older crowd, you know,
Gotcha.
like if it was my younger brother, he'd be about the double K, I feel. Maybe not though. You're younger than me. How would you feel about the double K?
I think I agree with you. I think the double K would just be trying too hard. I think keep it simple.
Yeah.
See, I like that.
The comeback just like it's smooth, you know what I mean? It looks very nice. But Kenny comeback, I mean, 2 in a row, there's no way you could avoid that one. He literally keeps the Steelers season alive, which you could say, yeah, Kenny's built for this. You could say he's developed nicely as a rookie. He's a first round pick, whatever. He's a rookie and he's played less than a full season of games. And in the biggest moments of his career so far, he has come up absolutely huge. And I think that's where we need to start here is Kenny Pickett and the Pittsburgh Steelers are alive behind. I want to say exactly how they planned this season to go. Let Najee Harris cook. Let the defense show that they deserve to be the highest paid defense in the NFL. And then in those weighing moments when you need a make or break play or you need a make or break drive, Kenny Pickett, who was drafted in the first round for a reason, could come through and win you a game. What did you see last night when you watched Steelers Ravens?
Yeah. I don't know. So all the same things you saw, I guess. Like Kenny, just the moment is never ever going to be too big for him, which it's easy to say, and it's easy to listen to Mike Tomlin and hear him say, "Oh, we knew this about him coming out of Pitt, and that's part of the reason we loved him." But until you actually see it in action, it's hard to really believe that it's there. Like we saw him kind of fold in these same moments earlier in the year. I think that's the biggest thing. Like people are kind of talking about these comebacks as if they always exist, like they were always a part of Kenny Pickett's game ever since coming to the NFL, and that's just not true. It took him time to get to this point, and I don't know. He's reached it at the exact right moment, and he's got this team playing some really good football heading into the final game of the season, which is going to decide whether or not they get to play a little bit longer. It's good timing, but I don't want us to pretend like this is something that Kenny Pickett's always been able to do. This is new and this is different, and this is definitely a sign of his development. The fact that he got better he's gotten better with time since being in the NFL.
Yeah, 100%. And I think that's the thing is like the Steelers understood that he was going to need time, and that's why he didn't start at the beginning of the season, because they understood that those mishaps, those early struggles were going to come because he's a rookie quarterback in the NFL. That's what rookie quarterbacks do. We preach that all season long. The Steelers knew that. They knew that was going to happen. But they also did their part during the summer. And I even talked to Pat Fryermuth yesterday, and I asked him, what makes Kenny so good in these moments? And he said, dude, we've practiced this since training camp. Like Kenny was the dude who was taking 2-minute drills. He was the guy in red zone. Like he was built for these moments. The Steelers built him for these moments, but they also understood that these moments are going to take time. Fortunately enough for them, these moments have taken 7 weeks instead of an entire season. He's gone from, these struggles, like you said, like this wasn't always there. The Miami Dolphins game didn't look like this. They had the same opportunity, and Kenny looked like he tried to play hero ball, where in this situation, Kenny just looked like, yeah, in those moments, he had to be a hero, and he just played it cool. Like he just knew it was going to happen. And I think the biggest thing is, you said it, or you wrote it last night, that he said that he knew they were going to score. The offense had the confidence that they were going to score. And even TJ Watt knew that their quarterback was going to lead that drive. And I think that's the whole thing. The whole offense has become so much more developed in the last 2-3 weeks, just in these big moments. Like overall, you score 16 points. That's not a win for an offense. But if you could score 16 points, score on a game-winning drive, and win the game, it doesn't matter. At that
Right.
point, like the only thing that matters is a W, and the Steelers got one. Does it change anything that it has come against the Raiders or Ravens, or is that just trying to make a positive and negative?
No, I think it does. I think, well, I mean, the Raiders comeback was, I feel like that could have happened against any team, and I don't know, you
Yeah.
would have felt the same way. Doing what he did against the Ravens, who are not just like a really talented football team, especially on defense, but at their place on Sunday night against a pretty hostile and motivated crowd like that was wildly impressive. That only, I think, I don't know, that definitely does that definitely impressed me more. The fact that he was able to do it in such an environment. Kenny himself said it, like it's it's one thing to do that at home, like to do what he did against the Raiders and do that at home and have the crowd on your side and be able to kind of communicate a little bit easier. But when you're in the thick of that kind of crowd and that kind of noise, it's much harder to pull something off like that. And he was able to do it and do it flawlessly, and just, I don't know, the level of difficulty on some of those throws on
Oh,
that
yeah.
final drive was ridiculous. That Steven Sims one is one of the more impressive throws I've seen made in the NFL this year, regardless of player or age or anything like that.
Oh, yeah. So I haven't gone back. Like I usually go back after the game and rewatch the game. But obviously, I got home. I got back here to like 2:45 and
Mhm.
just kept working. So I haven't had time to check it out. But Derek watched it again last night and he actually wrote about it. I think the article is up live now. But he details like how close that play was. And you don't really realize until you go back and look at it. Like he's a centimeter away from Kyle Hamilton's fingertip. Like it
Mhm.
is ridiculous how
And
pinpointed that throw was.
yeah, and if Hamilton gets one finger on that, that ball's getting picked. There are three defenders
Picked.
around
There's
there.
three
Yeah,
guys
there's
there. Yeah. And he's not going to bat it up. He's going to bat it up.
yeah,
That ball is aimed so that it's going to pop up into the air. Somebody's going to come up with that one. Yeah.
yeah.
That was that was absolutely nuts. And then the touchdown at the end to Najee, that's all Kenny. Kenny avoids the sack on Jason Pierre-Paul, waves Najee Harris into the end zone, finds Najee. It's the same play that it's not written up like that, but that's how it developed twice. It came out earlier in the game and he threw back shoulder to Najee and he dropped it. This time it was right on the money. That just these are veteran plays for a rookie quarterback in moments where you don't expect guys like you see guys like Derek Carr or like James no, not James Daniel Jones
Mhm.
out in New York, like Zach Wilson, all these veteran guys who have struggled in moments where they need to step up. And somehow Kenny's 10 games into his career. And he's like, yeah, you know what? What's M&T Bank Stadium? And that stadium is loud. Like two things. So one, got to give a shout out to the Ravens fans that sat in front of the press box and trash talked me the whole time. Good guys. The one dude hit me up on Twitter after the game and he's like, hey, I hope I didn't, piss you off too much. And I was like, nah, it was a great time. I hope you had fun. They did every time, every single play, they'd turn around and they'd give me something. They'd be talking smack. They were like sending me messages on Snapchat, like on their Snapchat thing, putting it up
Uh,
against the box. But they like the crowd was real into it. And the Ravens, this is the first time I've ever been to M&T Bank, and their like in-game performance for lights and just like the show that they put on is
mhm.
absolutely nuts. Like they shut the lights off every 20 minutes and play this really loud music and have all these lights flashing and get everybody hyped up. Like that crowd was insane. That atmosphere's got to be hard to play in. And especially in that 2-minute drill, like you think that they just like shut it off and they were just like, all right, we'll calm down now. No, they ramped it up times 10 to make sure that Pittsburgh couldn't get into the end zone. So all that pressure on you and to keep that composure, I mean, that takes a special kind of person. Because if it was me, if it was you, maybe, if it was me at least, I could speak for myself. I'd be so fired up in that situation that I would have made a mistake. I would have
Yeah,
been like, I would have been so cocky that, I would have done something dumb like Kenny did against Miami. Easy.
Yeah, it's really easy to get hyped up and try to play outside of yourself, but I don't know. It was not Kenny trying to do too much, but it was Kenny
Nope.
doing exactly what he needed to do. His best plays came kind of off script on those like broken plays, like the one you described, the final touchdown to Najee. Like I thought that was my biggest takeaway from what Kenny did was that the creativity and the way he directed an offense when things really deteriorated, that was just another like those veteran plays that you talked about. It's not something I think you'd really expect a rookie quarterback to be able to do. Um, and to like just the chemistry that's come along with all of his receivers and the way that he's kind of able to create things with them on the fly when nothing else is really happening. Um, it's just I felt like during the first half of the season, during Kenny's first few starts, we saw so many times where people were just an inch off.
Yep.
They were a beat off, a step off, something like that. There was just always a little bit of a disconnect, and you don't see that as much now. I don't think.
No, I think the biggest thing there is Deontay said after the game, he's like, "That's my quarterback," and that was the first time that I felt like these guys are all on the same page and they feel like this is actually starting to work instead of, you know, having to come up with a good quote so that the media doesn't run away and make Kenny Pickett into a bad guy. 100%.